start this broadcast with some breaking inputs coming in. Take a look. All right, now the Election Commission, in a reply before the Supreme Court, has sought not to be part of expert body proposed to decide the validity of the freebies. Election Commission says, being constitutional body, its views during deliberation may pre-decide the issue and affect the level playing field. This is the big update that we are getting. Remember, the Supreme Court had asked these bodies like the Election Commission and Niti Aayog to come up with suggestions as far as the freebie politics is concerned. This after a BJP member moved a plea in top court saying that freebie politics will spell economic disaster for the economy. And in the latest, the Election Commission of India says that it does not want to be a part of the expert body proposed to decide on the validity of freebies. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by Meenakshi on the broadcast. Meenakshi, Election Commission is the first body to actually pull out of that proposed panel that was to give its opinion on freebies.
Well, that's right, Archana. You see, this is what the Election Commission is saying in its reply before the Supreme Court. Whether the Supreme Court will allow Election Commission to pull out of this, that remains to be seen, of course, going forward when the matter is debated and argued further when the matter comes up for consideration. But like you rightly mentioned, this is a reply that the Election Commission has filed before the Supreme Court, where it is seeking not to be a part of the expert body or panel that proposed to decide the validity of freebies in this PIL, which Supreme Court is seized of as we speak, PIL filed by Mr. Ashwini Upadhyay. Now, the reason given by Election Commission to the Supreme Court is this, that it is a constitutional body and the views of the Election Commission during the deliberations may pre-decide the issue and affect level playing field. So this is the ground the Election Commission is taking before the Supreme Court to urge upon the Supreme Court to keep it out of this deliberation process. We underline for our viewers, this is just a reply filed by the Election Commission of India, whether the Supreme Court will allow for the nodal election body of India, which is the Election Commission of India, to keep itself out of this contentious issue remains to be seen, Archana.
All right, Meenakshi, please stay on with us. So let's also tell our viewers about another important piece of news coming in from the Supreme Court, which is that the top court granted bail to activist Varavara Rao, who's an accused in the Bhima Koregaon Violence Case on medical grounds. While granting bail to the 82-year-old activist, the Supreme Court said that there should be no misuse of liberty in any manner. Taking note of the activist's age, the top court also questioned NIA's investigation. Meenakshi, for the benefit of our viewers, could you take us through the kind of arguments that were made in the court and what specifically did the court point out as far as NIA's probe in this case is concerned?
Yes, absolutely, Archana. You see, NIA is the premier investigating agency which deals with all high-profile offences pertaining to, in particular, UAPA, which again is a special law which has been carved out to take care of niche offences under which Varavara Rao has been booked. So the Supreme Court wanted to know from the NIA Council, which was represented by no less than an additional Solicitor General level officer, about the manner in which the trial is progressing. For instance, the Supreme Court wanted to know from the NIA law officer, when will the framing of charges in this matter happen? NIA was not able to satisfy the Supreme Court on that account. Supreme Court then questioned the NIA about the custodial interrogation that NIA wanted to conduct on Varavara Rao, and that also has not seen the light of the day as we speak. So in these facts and circumstances, the Supreme Court was of the opinion that given his advanced age, he is about 82 or 83 years of age, he has medical complications, and given the fact that NIA cannot, put forth any solid manner in which the trial will progress or commence, or even if the framing of charges can happen in the foreseeable future, there's no assurance from the NIA on that account as well. The Supreme Court has gone ahead and granted regular bail to Varavara Rao on medical grounds, given the fact that he's already spent 2+ years, because remember he was taken into custody, Archana, sometime around August 2018. So that makes it 2 years or a little more than 2 years that he has already spent in custody.
All right. And Meenakshi, another important aspect is that the state, the NIA, were fiercely opposing the bail to Varavara Rao on several grounds because there are several serious allegations against the activist and poet.
Right, Arjuna. The NIA had dug its heels deep before the Supreme Court today, saying that medical grounds cannot be made out to be a ground to give bail to anybody who has been accused under UAPA. Like we said, it is a very stringent provision of law. But the NIA counsel's arguments were rebutted by no less than Mr. Anand Grover, who is also a very senior eminent counsel. He told the Supreme Court that there is nothing new that the NIA is able to furnish on record which justifies the continued incarceration of someone who's been kept in custody since 2018. And then Mr. Grover emphasized to the Supreme Court that everybody is an accused still proven guilty. And despite the UAPA provisions being slapped against Mr. Varavara Rao, there is nothing effective that the NIA has been able to show even to the Supreme Court. Most of these evidences are in the electronic format matter and electronic format manner, beg your pardon, and there is a certification, a 65B certification that is required for electronic material to be deemed as credible evidence which the NIA has not been able to furnish. That is one argument that was given by Mr. Anand Grover. So in this backdrop, the Supreme Court, like we just mentioned, wanted to know from the NIA about specific time limits. Like, for instance, when can the commencement of trial happen in this case? When can the framing of charges happen in this case against Mr. Varavara Rao? So to that also, the NIA counsel was not able to satisfy the Supreme Court, because of which we are seeing the Supreme Court step in and grant regular bail on medical grounds to Varavara Rao.
All right. Thank you, Meenakshi, for those updates and getting us the latest as far as bail to Varavara Rao is concerned. I'm also joined by Flavia Agnes on the broadcast, who's a lawyer. Thank you so much, Flavia Agnes, for making time and speaking to Mirror Now. At the outset, what is your first reaction to this development? 2 years in jail, and finally Varavara Rao has been granted regular bail by the Supreme Court.
I think it's wonderful news. I welcome this news that Supreme Court has finally awakened to the plight of activists who have been incarcerated for 2 or 3 years. Varavara Rao is 82 years old now, 83 I think, and then his health conditions were severe, and that is why he was already granted bail on medical grounds. But now this regular bail, I think, is a big step forward. And I also appreciate the comments made by Supreme Court. You keep somebody in incarceration and you don't even move. You don't start the trial. You don't start the process. You don't even interrogate that man. And you just keep him like that. So this is, according to me, is a big advancement, a great move ahead, not only for Varavara Rao, but also for others who are languishing. We're glad that Sudha Bharadwaj got bail. Stan Swami was very tragically died in custody because he could not get bail, even on medical ground, even though his age was 84 years old. And he was suffering from Parkinson's disease as well as other ailments. So I think this is a big step forward, and I welcome it, and I hope the others who are languishing will follow this, and Supreme Court's guidelines or assurances to the incarcerated person will be followed up in other cases as well.
Right. And Flavia, it is not the first time when we've heard this, that process is the punishment, because there are several voices that are asking this question, that the arrests were made in 2017. We are in 2022. The trial hasn't begun. What is exactly the intent of the state and the establishment behind keeping all these 16 people behind bars?
Exactly. I mean, the whole process seems to be the punishment. And you arrest a person, incarcerate that person, and do not start the trial. you are not having sufficient evidence even to do the interrogation or even to initiate the legal proceedings. And so there is basically public are now into this, that there is not enough evidence. That's why the government does not want to start the trial. NIA doesn't have the sufficient evidence. It's becoming quite obvious. I hope Supreme Court will be alerted on this fact. And I hope other cases of similar type, where so many well-established activists are behind bars, even today, Gautam Navlaka is there, Anand Verite is there, so many others are there. So I hope the Supreme Court moves and takes up this matter very seriously, and how the state is using under UAPA the process as punishment. I think this is something very serious need to be dealt with.
Right. I'm also joined by Anand Patwardhan on the broadcast. Anand Patwardhan, thank you so much for making time. What is your first reaction to this development, a regular bail to 82-year-old Varavara Rao in the Bhima Koregaon case, where the trial hasn't even begun yet?
No, it's very welcome. I'm not sure if you can hear me because I can't see.
I can.
Okay. So it's a very welcome judgment. I mean, there have been two extremely welcome judgments in recent times from the Supreme Court. One was on Zubair and one is on Varavara Rao. And I hope that this run continues for a long time. We are hoping that Tisa Setulwar, Omar Khalid and a whole lot of other people get out of jail because they've been unfairly, unjustly put in jail.
All right. And as Flavia Agnes was also saying that, there is this unanimous verdict. There's this unanimous discourse that talks about process being the punishment, and that since 2017, the first time when these arrests were made, and we are in 2022, the trial hasn't even begun yet. The draconian provisions of UAPA under which people are arrested and kept in jail. What is your view on this entire bit?
Sorry, is that question to me or to
Yes,
Flavia?
to you. Yes, to you.
No, as I said, the fact that people have been in jail for over 2 years without the trial even beginning is it speaks volumes, and it's completely undemocratic, and they have to start taking remedial action right away. Already one person has died in prison without a trial, so it becomes a serious murder if this continues, and the risk that they're taking with many of these people in jail are very old already, and it's a very risky business, especially in COVID times, but even without COVID, because the conditions in jail are horrific. We've heard also that even a mosquito net was denied to prisoners, so it's completely punishment. It's nothing more than that. It's vendetta of some kind.
Right. Flavia Agnes, do you also concur that this is a sort of a vendetta?
Absolutely. And we have seen it time and again happening. Stan Swamy met a tragic death in custody, and they were pleading for him to be given medical bail, and even that process was going on in the court while he passed away. And that's very tragic news, in fact. And he was 84-year-old and suffering from Parkinson and other ailments plus COVID. So, he had no chance to live. And I would call Stan Swamy's death a state-inflicted murder. It's not just he died by accident. He was deliberately kept there. He got COVID in jail. There was not even an interrogation of him while he was in custody. And he asked that, give me house arrest. I will stay in my place in Ranchi. And you can interrogate me, you can do whatever you want. They didn't listen to him. And he died. Now we have this case, Varavara Rao. He at least got medical bail earlier, and now he's been released on bail. And that has become such a big news, because even bail, which is a basic right, is not given for those who have been incarcerated under UAPA. And that's the most tragic situation in our country today, where the democracy is affected, where right to freedom and liberty is affected. And the state has exercising unilateral power of incarceration, and Supreme Court has been just a mute spectator to this process. So I'm glad now Supreme Court has awakened. Supreme Court is looking into it. And I hope other incarcerated people will be able to take advantage of this situation in the months to come.
Okay. Anand, I wanted to mention something. When the bench made it clear that the benefit of bail is extended to Varavara Rao only on the medical condition. So, which means that the status quo of the case still doesn't change. We still don't know about the timeline or when officially the trial will begin, because multiple charge sheets have been filed in this case. Very serious allegations, Maoist links have been alleged in this case. So, how do you view this? Because this pertains to only Mr. Varavara Rao, but other people who are behind bars, the case is still going on and the trial hasn't even begun.
I think the judgment, this bail has sent a good message all over the country, and especially to the courts themselves. Because I think, for instance, Tista Setalwar being in jail is a complete travesty. Somebody who has fought for justice for all her life and has put so many guilty people into jail herself. She's in the same jail with the people that she was instrumental in getting arrested. And so every time they do give bail, they point out that this is an exceptional case. They did that with Sudha Bharadwaj also. But even in this bail, you can see that Sudha Bharadwaj's matter has been mentioned. So obviously, the message sticks in people's mind, even though the judge might say that it's meant to be only for one case. But it's common sense that it applies to everyone.
All right, very important point you made there. Thank you so much, Anand Patwardhan, for your valuable time, and Flavia Agnes for sharing your insights on this big development. Supreme Court there granting regular bail to Varavara Rao on medical grounds in the Bhima Koregaon case. Supreme Court orders clubbing of all FIRs lodged across the country against Nupur Sharma at Delhi to be probed by Delhi police. This is the latest that we are getting for you.